Well, hey. Sorry about that pause there. Tech was doing what tech does, and tech wasn't behaving. So, happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, August 6th, 9:03 a.m. August. It's August. Can you believe it? It's August. I don't know if this happens when you're younger, but I know as you get older, it feels like time is just flying by. Like it really feels to me like it just turned 2025, okay? Like it wasn't that long ago. Is it 20? Yeah, we're still in 2025. We're not 2026 yet, right? We're still in 2025. Yeah. Yeah, time just blazes by. And I've noticed it in like micro segments and on the meta side also. Like days and weeks and years are blowing by and then hours are blowing by. And I don't know if it's because I'm more conscious and I'm paying attention to it. Like I have a countdown timer on my clock that I reset every Sunday that counts down every single day. So like did I say timer on my clock? I meant timer on my desk that shows me like the exact number of days, hours, minutes, and seconds I have left in the week. That there was a TV show called Studio Live on Studio 60 that inspired that. And ever since then, I've wanted like a large one, but my family got me a small one. So underneath my desk right now, you can't see it. There's a LED timer. It's about, oh, I don't know, 12 inches wide and maybe 2 or 3 inches in height. And it says 3 days, 11 hours, 55 minutes, 56 seconds. That is a constant reminder to me that things are moving fast and I better move fast also, okay? Or things are moving fast and maybe I'm the person that needs to slow down. Either way, hey, thank you for watching. It is Wednesday, August 6th, and you are watching Patrick Allman from Stop Doing Nothing Media. We go live once a week, once a month, once a year. No, it's usually at least once to twice a week. I'm talking about life and business and whatever is on your mind. And I always want to hear how, what kind of week that you are having and what kind of marketing topics or what kind of marketing questions I can answer. And this is especially in terms of like lead generation or marketing automation or AI or CRM work. That's what we do here at Stop Doing Nothing Media is we basically build out lead generation systems from people. So we manage everything from the ads to the marketing automation to the AI content generation to their social media management. We manage all of that for businesses. So if you ever know somebody who needs that kind of work, especially if you're a coach or a consultant or someone who has many downline clients, we would love to talk to you. Okay. That's my pitch, and I'm done with it. Today's topic was inspired by something that I kind of already knew, but recently it's been churning around in my head because there's a brilliant friend of mine, Charles Higgins, who has reminded me on it, um, who has who has reminded me about the topic recently. It's going to be around content generation. And it might be something that you already know, but I want to bring it to the forefront again because those of us in the world of digital marketing and even sometimes self improvement, dude, really? Charles, okay, the person that commented in the YouTube comments right there, Pinnacle AI, he says he's watching. It was my buddy Charles. He says he's watching while he's actually watching a Zoom call also. So this guy is so productive. He's watching two videos concurrently. It's really kind of funny because we talked about that yesterday, Charles, the fact that you have to multitask sometimes. What you're doing right there, Charles, watching multiple things at once, is the reason why probably the reason why I installed another TV in my office. So since I've done a live stream, I already had a wide monitor to my left, okay, and a my laptop monitor to the right, and then because I had a spare, who doesn't have a spare 75-inch TV? I took a spare 75-inch TV and I mounted it on the office wall behind all this equipment. So I pulled my desk out and I mounted another TV. And so what I can do is I can do stuff like Charles is doing is I can actually like watch something else while I'm working. Can you have too many monitors? I'm going to find out one way or another. I am going to find out one way or another. Um, let me see here. I'm just going to double check some tech stuff before we get into the topic. Uh, oh, okay. I'm on your iPad. Um, cool. Yes. No, and that's true. Actually, I didn't think about that. For a while there, Charles, I actually had my iPad as yet another monitor, and right now the iPad's over on the keyboard where I'm doing my piano lessons. So you can actually use that iPad as another monitor on the Mac. So I didn't realize you were that deep into Mac world. Got it. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, technically I could have four monitors, and I have had that running before, from the super small iPad to the 75 to the 49-inch diagonal to the 16-inch MacBook Pro. Oh, and that's something else I've gotten since the last time I've been on live, is I've upgraded for a MacBook M1, which I mailed to my daughter who needed it. My M1, for you Mac fans, I had an M1 when M1s first came out, with a 14-inch or 13-inch screen and a terabyte drive. My daughter recently needed a new laptop, so what I did is I went down to CDR Electronics here in Oklahoma City, and I found a decent deal. I think it's a decent deal on an M4 Pro with a 16-inch screen, and so I've got a new Mac laptop. I've been spending time configuring that, and my M1 is off to Brooklyn off to Brooklyn with my daughter. Okay, our topic, content creation. First of all, hopefully you saw the video thumbnail. The video thumbnail, if you haven't seen it, you can go to my Facebook timeline and scroll down and see it. The video thumbnail that I put up today is probably one of the better things I've created out of AI. When we're going to be basically talking about that a little bit, using AI to do things today. But the topic today came up because I'm part of a coaching group. And yesterday, one of the topics on the Zoom was content creation, the volume, quantity over quality, quality over quantity. Which should you work on? How much AI should you be using this? How should you SEO optimize all this stuff? And so the person leading the coaching call was a brilliant man named Charles Higgins from Pinnacle AI. I learned a lot of my business management from Charles, a lot of basically how to run a SaaS CRM style business from Charles. The guy is brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And he's even watching right now. He's actually so busy, he's watching, like I said, a Zoom call in addition to watching this. But Charles went into his whole production of how he creates content, which is what inspired today's topic. So let me find my notes here. I've got way too many screens up. Here we go. So the reason this topic is important, especially for those of you who are coaches, consultants, real estate agents, content creators, if you're somebody who wants to rank better, if you want more traffic and you want more business, and you are in business for the long haul, because what I'm about to talk about doesn't apply to people that are waiting for like waiting for quick hits, if you will. Okay. This is not for those people. This is a long-term marketing strategy. This is, something that's going to benefit you in a month, in a quarter, in 12 months kind of thing. And it's going to be content creation. And we all know, got to create more content, right? Content, content, content. Why? I briefly want to touch on that a little bit, but why do we have to create more content? Okay. We live in a world where we have these content creating machines coming after us all the time. Okay. Search engines, from the get-go, ever since back in the day. Remember back in the day when your main way you found stuff was like a Yahoo directory? Well, then Google came on the scene, and Google is a content eating beast. Okay. Google crawlers are going probably 25/8, 366 out there just consuming content on the internet. Okay. So it helps if you have content for it to consume, because that way, the way the search engines work, I type in, I want to buy purple shoes. The website who has the most recent and relevant information on purple shoes close to me is going to come up. And the only way that works is content. Okay. Let's just put it out there. Content is what drives the search engines. Content is what was driving AI in 2025. Okay. And these machines, these are beasts. I call them beasts, and they have to be fed. Okay. So first of all, you have the search engines. You've got the AltaVistas. I'm not even sure if AltaVista is still around. You've got the AltaVistas of the world. You've got the Googles of the world. You've got the Bings of the world. These are machines that are just constantly out there chewing on content. Okay. And one of the key rules they use for this is something I just mentioned a little bit ago, is recency and relevancy. Okay. All things being equal, all other factors being equal, the two factors that will drive your content to the top or allow your content to be found is if it's a more recent article and if it's relevant to what people are searching for. and people can be searching, using one word, using 3 words, using 5 words. That you get the whole long tail SEO thing, and this video is not about that. But again, let's just cover the basics. That's how search engines find you, and that's how AI engines find you. Okay, AI engines are nothing but glorified search engines that we can talk to using English sentences, and it spits back English sentences, and it spits back very structured content for us. Okay, and if you really want to rank well in the AI world, just make sure your SEO is in good shape. Okay, so you don't really have to do too much different in these days of AI. But either way, these are beasts that are out there consuming content all the time. Not to mention the fact that people are consuming content all the time. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why it's really good to be in the education business, is because people go on the internet to shop and to learn and to teach themselves things. Okay, and if you're the one who is talking about someone's topic, people will click through to your site. You will become their educational resource. So that's another reason that you want to create content out there. But the main one is the Googles of the world consuming content. So the reason that we want to produce more content, so I use the phrase recency and relevancy, right? So recency being the more recently published content out there, relevancy being, close to the topic that somebody is searching for. The reason that we want to be constantly creating new content is that our content decays. Okay. I know there's rules for like how nuclear material decays, or human bodies decay, or your food decays. Well, guess what? On the internet, your content decays. Doesn't matter if it's social media content. I learned that one 2 weeks ago. Now that's on the top of my head. Or if it's text content, if it's blog content, if it's video content, the moment you put something on the internet, it decays. What do I mean by that? The chances of someone seeing your content are dramatically higher within the first, like, let's say, I'm going to use for social media, the time period is a lot lower. Okay. Someone the other day said 4 to 6 hours. So when you put a social media post out there, the first 4 to 6 hours are the prime time to get views and clicks on that social media content. Because people are producing so much social media content, the social media sites have had to decay the reach, meaning that, excuse me, coffee's giving me the burpees. After 6 hours, it starts showing your content to fewer and to fewer and to fewer people. So do you ever have somebody you follow on social media who it seems like they're putting out updates like every hour or 5 times a day or whatever? That person knows the game. That person knows that as soon as they say something on social media, the relevancy drops off and social media stops showing their stuff. And then do another update and you're loud again, and the Facebook algorithm is sharing your content out there, and then it decays and drops off. And so all of us out there putting out content, whether it's website content or social media content, we're all fighting that decay. Okay. As soon as I put something out, 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes later, it's decayed a little bit. And somebody else who may be putting something out on the same topic, let's say it's my buddy Charles, all of a sudden his is getting attention and mine's not. So then after, that 4 to 6 hour thing decays, his decays, my decays, ooh, boom, time for me to put out more content, boom. And then mine's decaying less than Charles. And we're all playing this game. And multiply Charles and I times, thousands, if not millions. Okay. Everyone's putting out content, and we're all playing the decay game. And that's important to remember as you're creating content. And this is one of the reasons why it's important to create a lot of content, which is the theme of this live stream today. Charles reminded me the other day that you don't have to worry about creating perfect content. And by perfect content, I mean, go to any search engine tool. Let's pick two that I'm very familiar with: Ahrefs and Search Atlas. If you go into Ahrefs and Search Atlas, they will give you the rules of a perfectly SEO'd piece of content. They will say your title's supposed to be this long, and you're supposed to have this much keyword density, and your content's supposed to be this long. It should start off this way. It should be structured this way. You should This should be part of your content wheel. If you're using WordPress or something else that categorizes content, your content, your URL should be structured just this perfect way for SEO. These tools, these Ahrefs of the world and search atlases of the world have come up with these perfect rules to basically help you produce content. Okay. And they aren't even rules the search engines pay attention to. What they are is they're just rules they made up to basically educate you more and get you to use their tool more. But there are plenty of places out there where you can go to learn about how to build the perfectly SEO piece of content. So what ends up happening a lot of time is people learn about the word SEO and they're like, ooh, I've got to produce perfectly SEO'd content. So they might work on their content wheel and they might say, okay, here's my perfect piece of content. I'm going to write a piece of content on the reason to install red garage doors in the state of Oklahoma. And they're like, oh, I've got that content idea. That's great. Now I have to research who else is selling red garage doors. Okay. What's my search comparison? Who else is creating content around red garage doors in Oklahoma? Got it. Okay. So I got to write my content and I got to find the perfect image, right? And then, Search Atlas said I need, 20% keyword density or 10% keyword density, which means that my phrase, red garage doors in Oklahoma, needs to be perfect. Then I got to find the perfect image. And so my team's working on this. We're a week into it. Then I've got to work on the reels for this and the script for the reels and then the social media graphics for every single platform. And I've got to do all this stuff. And I come up with this really great blog post. Let's say it takes me a week or two to come up with a really, really great blog post about red garage doors in Oklahoma. And I publish that and yay, yes, it's done. It's finally done, right? But remember the rules I talked about. That content instantly decays. So as soon as I took a week from now, so right now is August 6th. Let's say I start working on that right now. August 6 plus 7, last time I checked, that was 13. I start working on it right now. I have everything perfect. And on August 13th, I press publish and my blog post is out there. Remember the way that the decay world works. I put it on social media. I put it in the search engine and it's really great for, several hours, maybe even a day or two, but then it starts to decay. And then once I start seeing the decay, I'm realized, I got to start working on the next blog post. Or maybe if I was planning ahead, I'm already working on the blog post about the purple garage doors in Oklahoma. Okay, and so I'm doing this. And for those of you who create blog content or video content, you're familiar with this. You plan it out, and then once every week or two, you put out a really, really good blog post. If that is your plan, if that is what you are going to do, you are going to be the easiest person to outrank and to beat in the content game. Why? Remember the title of this live stream. Quality is going to beat quantity. Excuse me, the other way around. Gotcha. Quantity is going to beat quality. So the thing we discussed yesterday, and I knew part of this already, but Charles brought it up again, is that if you can use tools to create more content, maybe not perfect content, maybe it doesn't have the perfect URL structure and the perfect keyword density and the perfectly researched for competitive terms and the perfect long tail, keyword phrase. If you can put out more volume, you will win the game. I mean, it's simple math, right? If I let's go for social media. Let's flip the scripting over to social media. Let's say it's true what I heard the other day from Jacob Salem. I was listening to a speaker in Dallas. His name was Jacob Salem, and he was saying that social media content decays every 4 to 6 hours. So let's call it 6 hours. If I am putting out a blog post, let's say once every 2 weeks, and somebody comes up with a more efficient way, let's say Charles, to put out a blog post every single day, along with social media content every single day, along with a podcast every single day, along with, shorts and reels on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook every single day. Charles is going to kick my ass in the content game, okay? And I'm sorry if you weren't expecting French. I took 2 years of French. Ass is 100% a French word. Maybe it's arse. I think ass is the bad one. Arse is an insulting one. Either way, anybody from the non-US, let me know which one's more insulting. Charles is going to kick my ass when it comes to the content game, okay? Because I'm working off of, publishing a blog post every week or excuse me, social media piece of content every week. And that 1 week I put out that piece of social media content, it's instantly decaying. It has a lifespan of 6 hours. If I'm someone that can put out a new content piece on social media every 6 hours, every 8 hours, let's say even every 24 hours, because I've experimented with all of this. Even if it's not the best quality content, it's going to beat the person that is waiting to put the perfect piece of content out there every single time. And what Charles showed us, and there are plenty of tools to do this, I got a nose itch. There are plenty of tools to do this in the world of AI these days, okay? It's not hard for you to conceive of a blog post idea, why red doors are really good for Oklahoma, and go to an AI tool generation. You can use any of them. You can use Claude, you can use ChatGPT, you can use Gemini, you can use Notebook LM. I mean, there's no shortage of tools these days. There's no tool excuse. The biggest problem we have these days is which tool should I use? We go to Home Depot, there is no shortage of hammers. We are long past the days of going to Westlake Hardware and they had one brand of hammer. Okay? Used to go to Westlake Hardware, which I think used to be the cool neighborhood store. Guess what? They have one yellow hammer in there. You want a choice? Doesn't really matter. They can charge whatever they want. They have one hammer. Same these days with our tools and our tool sets. We have so many freaking hammers and nails and wrenches and pliers to do this stuff that's not a problem. ChatGPT is the popular one, but you've got the Claudes of the world. You've got the, like I said, the Geminis of the world. I'm usually pretty much a ChatGPT kind of person, but these days I'm leaning more into Gemini and Notebook LM and Opal, thanks to Charles, as far as social media tools. But it doesn't really matter. It really doesn't really matter. Just pick a freaking tool and get to work, okay? It is not hard in August of 2025 for you to conceive of a blog post idea and for you to hop into a search engine and say, hey, write me a 500-word blog post on why red doors are the best door color for Oklahoma. As a matter of fact, let's do that. Let's see how long it takes. You know what? I'm going to hop over to ChatGPT here. Let me know if I'm still streaming because my screen switched a monitor. You know what I'm going to do? Where's my ChatGPT window? Oh, there it is over there. Okay. So let's come back over here. Let's go to my ChatGPT window. And let's, yeah, we're going to go with GPT 4.0. And we're going to say, write a 500-word blog post on why red is the best color for garage doors in the state of Oklahoma. Okay? Remember now, this live stream has been going for all of 26 minutes. I've made up this topic off the top of my head. I want to get this out and published. So I'm going to fire up my AI tool. I'm going to fire up my AI tool after I stop drinking and say, here's my blog post concept. Type into an AI tool, 1001. You know what? I didn't even get a chance to get to 1001. ChatGPT has already come back with two different variations. Two different freaking variations. ChatGPT does this sometimes. A lot of times you'll get back like one block of text, but every now and then what happens right now on ChatGPT, is there a way, oh, you know what, if I could share my screen without messing up everything else, I would. But ChatGPT is basically given me two different responses. They are, yeah, no, let me see if I can. You know what, can I share my screen? Let's see, can we do a screen share here? Oh, nope. That's the wrong screen share. Let's, yeah, no, let me see, wrong screen share. You know what? I'm trying to do this. Oh, you know what? Let's go to bear with me, where I go to here and I say screen share, show my secondary display. There we go. There we go. Yeah, Charles, I wasn't meaning to share my screen, but here it is. So here's my Mac. Here's my cool Mac 16-inch screen. And so I went up here. Oh, it disappeared. Oh, dang it, it disappeared. So what happened? I looked away and it disappeared. What happened when I typed this in is this chat GPT from my response up here gave me a split screen and it gave me two different responses. That's not my point. My point is from idea to fully written blog post was, well, it's 28 minutes now, but you know what? Let's call it 5 minutes, okay? Because we know I've been talking for 26 minutes. The idea from me to go from idea to content, seconds. It's really seconds. Let's really push it and say 5 minutes. It takes nothing now for me to copy this and paste this over into a stop doing nothing blog post or my redroofingoklahomacompany.com blog post and have this content out there. I can then have ChatGPT create the image or another tool create the image. I can have another tool create the script. And this is me running through what Charles talked about yesterday. I can have another tool create, summarize this into a short script that I can use for a 60-second reel slash short on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. It would then be nothing for me to take this and turn it into an infographic, or like I said, generate the blog preview post from this, or turn this into a quick social media, very cool branded update. And then, if you've used Notebook LM at all, this can become a 20-minute podcast in a heartbeat. And let's go back to my regular screen share here. I really wasn't expecting to share my screen, but whew, I thought that was going to be bad. So let's get rid of that screen. Let's come back up here to our regular folder. There we go. Okay. So that was my whole point, is for the concept, for you going from concept to actual content these days is just like nothing. So my whole point of this is stop worrying about being perfect when it comes to your content. And this was, again, the whole reason this has been on my mind, because Charles, bless his heart, he reminded me of this yesterday. Charles cranks out volume. Okay? He cranks out volume. He can do this. He does this early in the morning, coming up from you can build the content wheel. So having a content wheel is never a bad thing because it's going to inspire you. My biggest challenge is to issue sometimes ideas and coming up with different ways of talking about a topic. So that's where a content wheel comes in handy. But you know what? I can also use ChatGPT. If I'm having trouble coming up with my content wheel and I'm a red roofing company in the state of Oklahoma, I can now, if I'm having trouble coming up with a blog post idea like this, I could use the same freaking ChatGPT to come up with my content wheel. Hey, ChatGPT, give me 20 categories of blog posts that I should be writing to reach high intent garage door buyers. I think, did I say garage doors? Yeah. My prompt here was a 500-word blog post on why red is the best color for garage doors in Oklahoma. So if I'm having trouble coming up with even content ideas, I can use the ChatGPTs and the Geminis and the Claudes of the world to come up with the ideas, and then I can use that content wheel of ideas to then feed back into the machine and say, hey, help me write a blog post on this particular topic. And you can either post it to your blog with the image and be done, because we're talking. If I was really, let's say, if I wasn't to modify this, I like to modify my content out of AI. But let's say again, if I was just being lazy AF, concept idea, 5 to 10 seconds later, I've got the blog post. Use either ChatGPT or something else to generate the image. Copy, paste, WordPress, publish, done. If you really want to be fast, and this isn't even as fast as Charles does it. Charles does a little bit longer production cycle. So his process is all of 10 to 15 minutes. I think 20 minutes is what he said yesterday. But you can do this in like less than 5 minutes. And I kid you not. Think about that. If you don't want to be perfect, if you want to worry about volume over vanity, if you want to worry about quantity over quality, and by the way, if that is your mindset, you will 100% win, as long as you're publishing relevant content and recent content. But think about that. Less than 5 minutes. Open up a WordPress editor over here, okay? WordPress, you've got the title, you've got the content box, and you've got the image, and you pick your categories. Whew. ChatGPT, here's my concept. That's my title. Write me a 500-word blog post for that. Done. right here at the bottom of my ChatGPT window. You're not seeing it, but that's okay. There's a giant copy, two little squares on which is a copy. Hop over to WordPress, paste, come up with a title. Don't know title idea? ChatGPT, give me a title. Paste. Image, ChatGPT, generate an image on red garage doors. Ooh, let's see how long that takes. Generate a blog image that matches this blog post. Let's see how long that takes. The image generation may be the longest part of this whole cycle. Generate a blog image that matches the blog post. Is ChatGPT is getting started. So 5 minutes or less for you to come up with the concept of a blog post to where it's published. And then, of course, Google and the search engines pick it up. Now, to some people, this is going to seem like they're not being honest or that they're not being true in the game, okay? SEO is going to ruin this. SEO is going to ruin that. Your competitors are doing it. And right now, a lot of you are losing to your competitors because you are not creating educational content fast enough. I don't create a ton of educational content, yet it still gets me money. That's the amazing thing is right now, my content game is nowhere near as high as it could be. I'm nowhere near a Charles of the world. And even with my mediocre content creation, I get clients from YouTube. I get clients from my blog posts. I did a video 2 to 3 months ago on high-level CRM, and the video was about setting up something. Let's see what Charles says here. He's always good for comments. So let's see what his time said here. 20 minutes to produce blog article with image, social caption image, video script, AI created video, podcast episode, and Q&A for Google Business Profile. Look at that. 20 minutes. The guy's up at 5 o'clock in the morning, if not more, not earlier than me. I think you're up earlier than me. You're like 4:30, I think is what you said. 20 minutes he has one. Oh, let's add that back in there. Stupid freaking, let's see what did it say. Where's that blog article? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 pieces of content in 20 minutes. And by the way, over here in my other window, ChatGPT has generated my blog image. So that took maybe 2 to 3 minutes. That was a long part of it, okay? Probably most of Charles's time here in 20 minutes from what I watched his process today is actually moving stuff in between platforms. You got to copy it here, you got to paste it here, use captions to generate this. So it's not like solid 20 minutes of these engines churning on stuff. It's Charles's time creating the content, copy, paste, reformat, rejigger, yada, yada, yada. So 20 minutes to go from the concept of a piece of content into actual content creation. What's your excuse? What's my excuse? But think about that for a second today. What's your excuse? Oh, I don't like AI generated content. It's not true. It's not genuine. You know what? I have to agree with you at some point, but you know what I do like? Is I like money. And I like traffic. And traffic leads to money. In our world of internet-based businesses, traffic is money. 100%. That's the game. That's the game we're in. Traffic is money. Sometimes it doesn't have to be the perfect traffic, but volume will beat vanity every single day of the week. And when I had that thumbnail preview image by vanity, I was really referring to the people like me sometimes that want it to be perfect. That's what I mean by vanity, is you wanting it to be perfect is getting in your way. Let's see what Charles say here. How far can you stretch one content idea? How many ways can you repurpose? That's the key. Yeah, and Charles, to tell you the truth, brother, you doing 8 pieces of content, I think I've seen someone, and it was a buddy of mine named Jay, I think it may have been Jay Bear. Jay Bear several years ago showed me how he creates like 20 to 30 pieces of content because he also repurposes it into micro books. Yeah, one idea can go from 1 piece of content to 5 to 10. Okay? So I just want you to think about that. If you're struggling financially, and a lot of people are, and you're in the SaaS game that we're in the content game, figure out what you can do to crank out a lot of work using the tools in front of you. I recently redid my Mac, and one of the first things I did is I installed all the AI tools I use right on the Mac. I have a ClickUp AI Brain because I'm a big ClickUp user. I've got ChatGPT installed here. Let's see, what else do I have installed? AI wise. I have CapCut, Descript, some decent AI tools, ChatGPT. I thought there were some other AI clients I have here. Unfortunately, Gemini does not have a Mac client or even a Windows client, I don't think. But I use ChatGPT a lot, Gemini a little bit more, as you saw today. I actually have a paid version of ChatGPT slash a paid version of OpenAI. And then yesterday, Charles introduced me to Opal. Opal is at opal.withgoogle.com is a cool little kind of multi-step AI agent or miniature AI app builder that Google is, I think they're in the process of doing a beta on. But Charles is right, and it was just a good inspiration for me yesterday. And then as I was out walking this morning, I was like, oh, let's talk about content volume. So my summary is, first of all, if you have any questions about this, please feel free, obviously, to DM me. If you want, I can either help you or I'll even connect you to Charles. There's enough pie to go around this world, okay? I have no problem connecting you to Charles. And by the way, one of the reasons Charles does this, and I won't get into his personal details, is the man does not have a lot of time. He's running multiple businesses. He has a very busy family, and he doesn't have time to worry about the perfect blog post. And he'll self-admit it if you talk to him. He's very frank with you. He's like, I've got a finite amount of time in the day to do content production because he's got multiple businesses he's running. He's got kids he's driving around. He's got plenty. He's got coaching calls he's doing. He doesn't have a lot of time. He's trying to be efficient. When you're trying to be efficient, and you're trying to get things out, don't be afraid to use the tools that are given to you. And don't worry and don't be afraid to write down this phrase and put it on a sticky note next to your monitor. Volume will always beat vanity, or volume will always beat perfection. Another way I put that? Oh, dag nabbit, I don't have a bracelet on me. You know what? Let's get a bracelet. What's another way of saying this? Quick, someone put it in the comments before I get to it. By the way, if you want one of these, Charles, I think I need to mail you like 100 of these darn bracelets. I don't have my regular bracelet on. What's another way of saying volume beats vanity? Here we go, folks. Done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. If you and I are competitors, and I'm using AI to write blog posts, I'll clean house on you all day long. So please remember that as you go out today. Use your AI tools, create content, repurpose the crap out of it, stop doing nothing. Yep, that was the other side there. There we go. That's the other side. By the way, if anybody ever wants any of these, either text me at 405-217-4752. I will find a way to I can ship you a bunch just for the cost of shipping. I bought thousands upon thousands of them before we had frickin' tariffs, right? So I've got boxes of these things laying around that I give away at conferences and speaking engagements and things like that. Anyways, remember, volume beats vanity. Have a great, great day. I will see you probably all over the internet, but definitely live by next Wednesday. My goal, right these days, my goal is to do a nice live show Wednesday. Ideally, I like to get up even earlier, maybe do like a 2-hour show on Wednesday. By the way, what do I try to do after my live stream? I record this video. I try to use it. I try to repurpose it into some other content pieces. So that's one thing. Trust me. This is the parting thing I'll think with. If you're someone who's comfortable on camera, you can do all the stuff that we're talking about on a totally different level. If you record a live stream video like I do once a week, all the rest of that content production becomes even easier because you've got a video you can now slice up. You've got a transcription you can use for a blog post. You've got audio you can use for a podcast. You can re-summarize this into a reel, or you can use something like a CapCut of the world or a Descript or a Captions and repurpose a long form video into short form video. Just think about that, okay? Have a great, great day. I will see you next Wednesday.